going on? How's everyone doing?
Shout out to Colin. Everybody else who's cool with Colin.
Chunky, I didn't say.
Get your popcorn and your Coca-Cola and relax.
Anyway, tell Colin I'm ready.
What's going on? This is Colin. How's everybody doing? Happy Sunday. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Hope you guys are all having a great day. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Let's go. I've got two good clips for you. Well, multiple clips, but one hearing, I've got three parts to it. And then I got a second one. So yeah, let's go. All right. I need your guys' help though. Is this guy under the influence or is he not under the influence? That's what we're going to try to figure out. I'm going to say no, but you know what? Let's go. Before I hit that play button, you know what to do. Hit the like and subscribe, do your jump kick backflips. Hope you guys are doing well. Sparkle Poots with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. Guys, sorry I'm late. You know, I know Heather was holding down the fort. I was just late. Sorry guys. All right, let's go. Thank you so much, Sparkle Poots. To every one of the new members, thank you so much. Welcome to the family. All right, I'm gonna stop saying let's go when you said play button. Let's go.
On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Michael Yates, file number 23-02569FY, council appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Mr. Yates for purposes of his arraignment only. Mr. Yates has made application as to this file on for Public Defender. So we'd ask that not guilty be entered in his behalf. Thank you.
Okay, I'll note that he's requesting a court-appointed counsel and a plea of not guilty will be entered. Mr. Yates, today was the date set for an arraignment. Hold up here. I don't know what's going on. Mr. Yates, you okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you were looking off to the side. What were you looking at?
I wasn't really sure.
Excuse me?
I'm not really sure, ma'am. I was fixing my pants.
Oh, okay. Today's the date set for an arraignment. I do have a felony complaint here that alleges that on or about July 7th, 2023, at the area of 6821 South Cedar Street, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly, contrary to the law, commit the act in count 1 of retail fraud first degree. It stated that while at Lowe's, which was open to the public, you did allegedly steal property of the store that was offered for sale at a price of $1,000 or more, contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.356C. That's a felony. The maximum penalty is 5 years in prison and or $10,000 in fines, or 3 times the value or difference in price of the property stolen, obtained, or attempted to be obtained, whichever is greater. To impose a fine of 3 times the value, the defendant must admit the amount, or it must be determined by a trier of fact. The court may order reimbursement to the state or local government for expenses incurred in relation to the incident, including but not limited to expenses for emergency response and prosecution. That also states that the court shall order law enforcement to collect DNA identification profiling sample before sentencing or disposition if not taken at arrest. Do you understand the charge and the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Okay. Are you all right? You seem to be a little disoriented.
Stand here.
Oh, okay, I saw your eyes rolling through your head. Are they okay?
Yes, they're just fine.
Okay, okay, so you have the right to be represented by counsel. You're represented by Ms. Schroeder for today's purposes of your arraignment only. You have the right to be represented by counsel at each stage of the criminal prosecution, and you have the right to be represented if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, court-appointed counsel can be appointed at the expense of the public, okay?
Yes.
The court will note that you are requesting court-appointed counsel. You have the right to plead guilty, you have the right to plead not guilty, and you have the right to stand mute. You have the right in this matter to proceed to a preliminary examination within 21 days of today's date. At the time of your preliminary examination, you have the right to require the prosecutor meet their burden of establishing that they have sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed, and then probable cause sufficient to charge you with the crime. If this matter proceeds beyond the date of, are you under the influence of something?
No.
Okay, if we were to test you, will we find that you're not under the influence of something? Because I believe you are.
I'm not under influence of anything.
Okay, has he been PBT'd?
I don't think we can take him this morning. Do you want me to do a PBT?
Yeah, because he can't keep his eyes open while I'm talking to him about very important rights here.
There's something to hold my hair back or something? I don't know what's going
His hair,
on.
I got
his hair, no,
I don't know what-
your hair is
I don't
not,
know what's going on,
Your-
but
your hair was not in your face. It was perfectly pulled back. You can go and we'll deal with you later. Because I don't believe that you are not under the influence. I think you're under the influence of something. And so I'm not going to be able to proceed with your arraignment at this time.
All right, that's part one. What do you guys think? Under the influence of something, not under the influence of something. What do you guys think? This guy is he's definitely interesting. He's not really paying attention. But like I said, there are 3 parts to this video. First part you just saw, second part after the PBT, and then part 3 happened yesterday. So the part 1, part 2 happened Friday, part 3 happened on Saturday. All right, let's go.
Did we get anything on Mr. Yates?
I gave him a PBT. He was all zeros on the PBT.
Okay, he can come back in. I do still believe he might be under the influence of something, and obviously may not be alcohol.
Just have them.
Okay, sir, back on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Michael Yates. Mr. Yates, I'm going to attempt to continue this, although I do have concerns about what's going on with you and whether or not you've ingested or are involved in some kind of activity that might have impaired your ability today. Do you understand that?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if while I'm continuing this arraignment process, if I, for any reason, get the feeling that you're not able to concentrate or keep your eyes open like right now, then I'm going to have to remand you, okay?
My eyes are open.
Okay,
I don't understand why.
I recognize you believe that your eyes are open, but what the court can see and everybody who else who's watching can see that your eyes are. Is there something behind you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So again, if I get a concern, then I'm not going to be able to proceed with this because I don't think it's in your best interest to proceed if you're not in a state and where you can fully digest and understand the veracity of what's going on here and the charges that you are facing. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Again, I have a felony complaint and I've advised you of those charges. Again, it's 1 count of retail fraud in the 1st degree from Lowe's, alleging that you did, while it was open to the public, steal property from the store, which was offered for sale at $1,000 or more. Again, the maximum penalty is 5 years and or $10,000 or 3 times the value or difference in price, whatever was stolen, obtained, or attempted to be obtained, whichever is greater. The court has already entered a plea of not guilty on your behalf. The court has also noted that you're requesting a public defender to represent you. You have the right to proceed to a preliminary examination in this matter, and you have the right to have that exam within 21 days of today's date, unless you waive the timeline or unless the court finds good cause to go beyond that 21-day timeline. They didn't put a notice to appear in this file. Yes, they did. Okay. At the time of your preliminary examination, you have the right to require the prosecutor put forth evidence to establish that they have sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause to charge you with the crime. Do you understand those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You have the right, if this matter proceeds beyond a preliminary examination, to proceed to a trial, and you have the right to jury trial. At the time of your trial, you have the right to the presumption of innocence. You're innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to require the prosecutor prove your guilt by proving each element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to confront in court and cross-examine any other witnesses that the prosecution calls against you. You have the right to have witnesses subpoenaed to testify on your behalf at your trial. You can waive your right to silence and testify for your own self at trial, or you can present evidence at trial that you believe show a defense to the charge being brought against you. You have the right to require the prosecutor prove each element of the charge of retail fraud beyond a reasonable doubt at your trial. Do you have any questions about those rights?
No, ma'am.
All right. Full disclosure, because I love you guys. I fell asleep. I don't know if Heather told you this. I was hanging out with her and I asked her to sing for me and I passed out cold. That's why I was late. Thank you guys for being here. You guys are all awesome. Yeah. Apparently I'm just tired. And yeah, I took a little nap that went on forever. You guys are all awesome. Hope you guys are good. Hope you guys are good. Yeah, this guy looks like he needs a nap too. But this it's about to get good. It's about to get good. Get good.
Are you currently employed?
No.
Okay. How do you support yourself?
I was employed about a week ago.
Where were you employed?
A week ago.
I said where?
Here, I worked at the Lex Community Warming Center.
You worked at Lex Community Warming Center. What did you do there?
I just wanted the homeless in. Just all you did is it was a place for the homeless. They had somewhere to sleep, stuff like that.
I didn't ask you what it was. I asked you, what did you do there?
I had a wand. You wand the people in to make sure they have no weapons on them. That's what I did.
So you were security?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then you were security. Now you wanded them?
Yeah, yes. Well,
So
I mean,
your
it
only
wasn't security. It wasn't, yeah, that's all I had to do.
Okay, and you were paid for doing that?
Correct.
Okay, who were you paid through?
Detroit Ministries, I think.
Okay, and then you only worked there up until a couple of weeks ago?
Correct.
Okay, what's your plan for work now?
I'm looking for employment now.
Okay. How many times have you missed court before?
I think the only time I missed court is because I was incarcerated somewhere else. but that's about it.
You think?
Yes, ma'am.
When were you incarcerated someplace else?
I was incarcerated most of 2022.
Oh, okay. So, did you forget that you had some court dates in 2020?
Yeah, I guess I did.
Okay, so you probably missed court other than when you were incarcerated?
Right, correct.
Okay. What's your home address?
I don't have one. I'm homeless.
Okay. How long have you been homeless, sir?
Probably like 4 years.
Okay, so were you staying at the warming center, or were you just working there?
I was just working there.
Okay, so you don't have a place where your mail goes?
No.
What's your phone number?
517-614-5599.
Currently scheduled for a probable cause conference before Judge Tony Flores. It's gonna be Friday, March 22nd at 9:30. Again, you have a preliminary examination Thursday, March 28th at 9:30 before Judge Flores. Did you get a notice to appear?
Yes.
Okay. What's the matter with your hair?
Nothing. It's just in my face.
It's not in your face.
Well, not no more.
You're under the influence. I'm going to remand him. He's under the influence of something. And we need to find out what it is.
That is
The hair's not,
insane.
yeah, it is insane. I'm discontinuing this arraignment. I don't believe that he is sober-minded right now. Your hair is nowhere near your face. You can't keep your eyes open. We'll try this. I'll be here all weekend. We'll try it again next time. You're remanded in custody until the time that the court can conduct your arraignment, okay?
All right. That was part one. Part two. Now we're going on to part three. Part three is a day later. Like I said, I don't think this guy's under the influence of anything. They PBT'd him. It came back zeros. If he's on something, I just think he's annoyed. He just doesn't want to be here. That's all I think. And so I'm going to play what happened yesterday. So part one, part two happened on Friday. Part three happened on Saturday. He looks the exact same. His eyes just don't open. It's just who he is. All right, let's go.
File number 23-02569. Counsel appearance.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jacob Starks the fourth, Assistant Public Defender here on behalf of Mr. Yates for this limited appearance only. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Yates, how are you today?
I'm doing good.
Okay. Okay, so today was the date that we continued your arraignment. We did attempt to go through it yesterday. And you have a felony complaint for retail fraud alleging that on or about July 7, 2023, while Lowe's was open to the public, you did allegedly steal property of the store that was offered for sale at the price of $1,000 or more, contrary to MCL 750.56C. That's a felony. The maximum penalty is 5 years and or $10,000 or 3 times the value difference in price of the stolen property obtained or attempted to be obtained, whichever is greater. Do you understand the charge and the maximum penalty?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and we've gone over your rights, but I'll review them with you again. And you have the right to a preliminary examination within 21 days of today's date. You have the right to require the prosecutor put forth evidence to establish probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause to charge you with the crime. You're currently scheduled for probable cause conference before Judge Tony Flores on March 28th, 2024 at 8:30. And you have a preliminary examination before Judge Flores on April 4th at 8:30. You have the right to a jury trial. You have the right to require the prosecutor prove each element of retail fraud first degree beyond a reasonable doubt at your trial. You have the right to cross-examine any witness in court that the prosecution calls against you. You can present evidence or subpoena witnesses to your trial to testify on your behalf and present evidence that you believe show a defense to your charge being brought against you. You have the right to remain silent at trial and not have silence be used against you. Do you have any questions about those rights?
No, ma'am.
You can also waive your right to silence at your trial and you can testify. You provided the court with information yesterday that you did not have a valid address, you were currently unemployed, and you gave us a phone number. Do you have any other matters pending right now in any other courts?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you're not on probation or on parole, are you?
Yes, I am on probation in Livingston County.
What are you on probation for?
I am on probation for retail fraud.
For how long?
2 years. I should be off. This is my last year.
Oh,
All right, a few things. Do you have a matter pending in another court? No, I do not. But I'm on probation in another court. That means you have a matter pending. It does. You already taken, but probation is a thing. You know, it's still pending. That means you have a matter happening in another court. Also, I love I'm on probation for 2 years. This is my last year. Yeah, that means you have a year left. All right. So this is why I say I don't think this guy's under the influence. Maybe he's just not as smart as everybody else. He doesn't know the questions being asked. I don't think he was under the influence at all. I think the judge kind of bullied him a little bit. Who knows? He sees a lot of people. He did kind of evade some questions. He does look like he can't open his eyes, but he doesn't look like he's not responsive. So yeah. All right. This clip's almost over, and then we're gonna go on to a really fun one next. All right, let's go.
because I don't have a criminal history attached to this file. Counsel, you can address bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. Respectfully, if he's eligible for either a personal recognizance bond or low cash bond, and my apologies, Your Honor, I don't have his full criminal history either, but if he's eligible, I would request either a personal recognizance bond or low cash bond for him. Respectfully, he would like to get out to Livingston County, get those matters resolved. He assures me that he will show up for all his future court dates, that he won't miss any court dates in the future. He's learned a lot from going through this process recently. He understands the importance of complying with the court's orders, and has some challenges right now in terms of his personal life, but he's going to work on those, and he'll try to get a job and try to get some stable living circumstances if he's given the opportunity to be released, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. The crime alleged is not assaultive in nature. I don't really have his criminal history. I just know based off what he tells me that he is on probation, but it does not sound like he was under probation, of course, when this allegedly, well, maybe he was. He said he's got 1 year left. I'll leave that to his probation in Livingston County if they're going to violate him for a new matter. I don't know if he's got any holds or anything. Nonetheless, bond is set in.
Yeah, you're on probation, retail fraud, and you commit a retail fraud. They're probably going to violate you. You committed the same crime while on probation for the same. Yeah, that's not going to go well. It really isn't. I'm not going to say it isn't, but I'm going to say it isn't. All right, now let's finish this clip.
The amount of 500 personal recognizance you need to report to all of your court dates. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm requiring that you undergo periodic urinalysis testing as part of your bond conditions. But not to exceed one time a month. You need to get prior permission of the court before you can leave the state. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs without valid prescription. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to possess a firearm or other dangerous weapon. Do you have any questions about your bond?
No, ma'am.
Any additional matters for the record?
Oh, no, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're all set, sir.
Thank you.
All right, as he's walking out of there, I am going to switch to the other video, which, just like the last couple days, it was a premiere that I was supposed to put out, didn't put it out, so we have an intro that I got to skip through. So let's pop it up.
How's everyone doing?
What's going on? How's everyone doing? All right, now I played the first part of this maybe 2 weeks ago. Part 2 happened last week. I don't know if you guys remember. This is the woman. This is a landlord tenant case. This woman was arguing how much money was on the ledger, and they dismissed it because it was wrong. And the attorney for the plaintiff said, "Oh yeah, this ledger is not correct. We're going to correct it and refile it." And then the defendant was saying, "Well, I want to still argue this. This doesn't make any sense." And like, well, they just dropped the case. You know, they're going to refile it. She's like, "Well, I want to talk to legal aid." Like, well, you can't talk to legal aid when there's not a case. We're dismissing it. She's like, "Oh, okay, great." Well, she was back a week later. It only took a week to refile everything. Anyways, this one's good. This one's good. There's a little bit of yelling in this. There's a little bit of yelling. All right, let's go.
Antika Shahid.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. You would, Ms. Not Ms. Hammond? Okay.
Oh,
Mr. Heath?
yeah, I just went to the one I had next.
Well, that's fine, Your Honor. Yes. Okay.
Shahid.
Mr. Heath?
Oh, there you are.
Yes.
There you are. This is the first time up as well. Did you want to speak with legal services?
No.
No? Hey, Mr. Zinsmaster, I think we can continue.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. Currently, there's outstanding rent at this time of $3,325, and there's court costs of $200. So we would ask for a possession judgment of $3,500.
Dang, Mark Westberg. I almost said Mark Wahlberg. Mark Westberg, thank you so much for the 10 gift of subs. Welcome to all the new members. We will be having a members only Monday stream tomorrow. Also, members only stream a week from tomorrow. We'll be cooking with Colin. I'll be showing you how to make my favorite grilled cheese. It's not going to be, I'm not going to be busting out the gourmet cooking, but you know what? You guys want to see this pesto tomato grilled cheese I make? So I'm going to make it. That's going to be next Monday. And it will be members only. You know what? You have to be a member to watch me make grilled cheese. So you're welcome. All right, let's go.
$25 at this time.
Okay. Ms. Shahid, anything you want to tell me?
Crazy. Yes, they keep telling me different prices, but on this paperwork, it's
What?
keep not adding up. I see 1,755. 4 different times we've been through the same thing.
The
And I have even tried to go through the rent ledger myself and try to calculate some stuff up myself because
okay, the complaint says 2,755. Is that what, you're cutting in and out? Is that what you're about?
yes. Okay.
The complaint says 2,000. Yeah, but Your Honor, that amount was correct. Plus, then we of course add on this month's rent to that. Which
Okay.
and we do show that her last payment was in January, and that had brought down the payment as of January 13th, or pardon me, 10th. Oh no, right, 13th last payment, which was $1,535. There were legal fees filed of $200 for court costs that was added on. The rent income for February was $770, which brought it to $2,505. And then there was a late fee of $50, which made it $2,555. There's court costs for the refiling of a new case of $200, bringing it to $2,755 there. And then the rent income again, it happened on March 1st. So that brings us to $3,525 for the rent due, the total amount due at this time. I believe that ledger's in the file too. We put one in the court file.
Yeah, and I do have the have that in the file as well. Miss She, you gotta guys speak up closer to your microphone or something. It's really, I'm picking up half of your language there. Where'd she go? Miss Shahid? Well, we'll give her a minute. I don't know if she just.
Sure.
What? Let's pass on it for a minute, then see if she shows up. If not, we'll just continue. What? Shahid?
Oh. Yes, can you hear me better now? I don't really have good service.
Yep, I think that's pretty good. If you want to turn your video off, that might help too. You know, it says stop video right at the bottom of the screen there. Can you see that? Yep, there you go. Just leave it like that.
Okay.
Yeah, let's try that. Might work. The figures that they're giving me are consistent with what the complaint says originally. They're adding in the rent for this month, $770.
Oh, I'll cover it. I'll cover it. I love covering idiots. It's my favorite part of this this little gig I do. You know, idiots make the world go round. So yeah, if you do end up in court, please let us know. That'd be amazing. I mean, I know her. You know, remember Buddy from Elf when Santa was coming? I know him. I know him. I will be doing that with you in court. I will. I promise. I promise. I know her. I know her. I know her.
$3. Anything you want to tell me?
But how did it get all the way to 3,000 when just last week when I went to court it was at 2,000 and what was that? 2,555. 4 different numbers within the last court date. Like I just keep getting new numbers. I don't even know what I owe now.
As looking at the ledger, it was $2,505 owed as of February 1st when the rent was not paid then also. Then there was a $50 late fee, which brought it to $2,555. Then there's a $200 court cost fee here, which brought it to $2,755. And then of course, as of March 1st, March's rent's added on of $770, which is what brings it to $3,525.
Yeah, you will. Yes, you will. You will definitely tell me. Like, shit, I gotta go to court tomorrow. Just so you know, I'll be in this court at this time. Please don't cover it. And I'll be like, oh, I absolutely will not cover it. Speaking of which, can you come on my channel tomorrow night as a special guest? I'm not going to tell you what I'm playing. That's how it's going to go, Jay.
Yeah. Okay. So he keeps going back and just saying like different prices after prices after prices. Like, is there any way that someone else can look over the whole ledger? Because I don't know if they embezzling money. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, Mr. Heat, I'm looking at not only they submitted a ledger as well, but the figures he's given me, the original he's saying was 2,505. And then there was a $50 late fee that brought it to 2,555.
Right.
And then there's $200 costs. So that brought it to 2,755, which is what the complaint says at that point. I'm just going by what he's told me, and I'm adding them up. So it comes up at that point.
Right, but remember when we first started off, it was 1,100. Even you wasn't going for it. That's why we had to postpone it because you wasn't even going for it at first. Yeah. So now it went from 1,400 to 3,000, and 3,000 is not even on my paperwork. What I got on my paperwork is 2,755.
I know that's what I got.
That's correct.
So let's go back further if you want to go back further. That amount adds up to what the complaint says. Those make sense to me, but I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm saying the figures are consistent. So if you want
because they already made so many mistakes. So now it's like I'm to the point where I'm confused on what I owe. I've been trying to look over them. I have the rent ledger right here. I've been marking stuff.
Okay, so let's start out with what you say when were you paid in full? Let's start out with that date, whatever that date was. Do you have that date?
I believe April of 2023 was the closest she ever came to be paid in full. Coming back to April of 2023, it shows she made a payment. G-Card made a payment for her on.
All right. The last time her balance was zero was last April. Last April. This happened this week. Was it this week? Yeah, I believe it was this week. At most a week and a half ago. So it happened this month. So almost a year since she had a zero balance on her account. Yeah, let's argue this. This doesn't make any sense. Why do I still owe rent? I was paid in full back in April of last year, almost a year ago. She fights us so hard though.
April 24th. And that gave her a negative balance to start. So I guess that would be better than zero. She then had rent right, and we'd start right there on May 1st. Her first rental payment was due of $720, but she did not make a payment then, and there was due minus the $452. It came to $267.19 as of May 1st.
Okay, then, so hold on,
yeah,
Jen.
I'm sorry.
So on May 1st, you're showing an amount owing a $267.19 after credit and everything else.
No, then of course you take the ledger forward from there.
Okay.
You want me to go there?
Let me just see if I get that. Ms. Shahid, does that make sense up to that point for you?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, why
I
not?
would love if you could help it make sense to me, because it's not making any sense. And I also wanted to ask the question about, I was looking over the rent ledger and I see a lot of charges that they took for $15.
I don't know what that.
Like it says $655. This one rent was $640, and it says $655. This is going back to 2021.
Okay,
since we want to go back so far.
Hold on, I'm not going to go that far. That's way past what we're going to do. I can go back.
He went all the way back that far last time, and I couldn't even keep up with him.
Okay, so let's start out with the one that I'm comfortable with. That's
okay.
2023, April 2023.
The only people that matter, right? It's the attorney for the plaintiff. They took the defendant off the camera because it kept freezing, so you can't see her. So the other, bottom left, bottom right are just cameras. They're just waiting for their case to be called. They're just people in the background waiting. The woman, the defendant, isn't on camera.
April 2023. Okay.
And I see at one point you had a credit actually, so you're a negative $452.81 on April 24th, 2023. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so yes. Let's start out at that point, because at that point you got a credit showing.
Okay.
Okay, so so the rent owed on May 1st was $720. It's showing that you did not pay that rent.
And the reason I didn't pay, because I thought the $2260 would cover the next month for May. So what did the $2260 cover? That's where I'm kind of confused at as well.
Yep.
So I stopped paying rent because I had $226 left in credit. So I just haven't paid in a year. What did that cover if it didn't cover rent? Is this really her defense? Someone make this make sense, please. Somebody make this make sense.
I don't
and I'm just going by, I'm just kind of cutting through it. If you look at that $2260 payment, was that through G-Card? Is that what that was?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Just if you look at the line just above, it says there was a balance owed of $1,807.19.
Wait, I don't wait. Oh, okay, 1,008. Okay, and that still left me with 1,000.
That left you a credit still of
right.
452.81.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So was my credit applied to May
Yeah,
first?
it looks like if I look at it, Mr. Zinsman, correct me if I'm wrong, if I look at that next point, she got credit for that balance because there were 720 owed for May.
That is correct, Your Honor. It left, that's why you see there that it was negative 452 credit that she had as of April 24th. Then when May 1st came, she was charged her rent of 720, and that left a balance due at that time minus the 720 minus 452.81 comes up to 267.19, and that was the balance due is what it was.
Okay,
and then the next charge is $50.
Yep, and did you pay the 267.19, ma'am?
It came out the credit. It came out the credit, right?
No, that's a balance for that May date. Still.
Okay, so I may have not paid it then.
Okay. Okay, so we can start at that
But
point.
that still doesn't equal 1,000.
I'm sorry?
Well, it wasn't
That still
1,000
doesn't
credit.
add up to 1,000 credit.
I think Ms. Rashid is mistaken that she didn't have 1,000 credit. She only has a credit of it's $1,807.19 when the G card payment of $22.60 came in, which left a credit of $452.81, ma'am, not 1,000.
You just said that it left 1,000.
I never said that.
I
did not say that. I did not say that.
You said if I looked at the line right above that it left 1,807. That's what you just told me.
No, that's the amount that was owed, right? And then $22.60 was paid. So you take 1,807.19 from $22.60. So that gives you the amount of $452.81. That's how much you had as a credit starting out in May. And in May, you got charged $720, which is the normal rent then. And that made the amount you still owed for rent for May of $267.19. And that's where we start going forward from there.
Okay.
And then if you add, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
No, go ahead, Mr. I don't want to.
I apologize. I was just trying. And then if you look at there, you'll see that May 4th, there was a $50 late fee because the 267 wasn't paid in May. So that made that $317.19. Then the next month, there was another 720 plus 50, which is 770 total, added for non-payment and late fees. And then there was a court filing fee of $130 to go to court. So that got to $1,217.19. Then came July again. There was $720 due, plus a $50 late fee, which brought us to $1,987.19. Then again, in August, there was $720 due and a $50 late fee, which brought us to $2,757.19. Then at that time, on August 16th, you were able to get the County of Genesee to pay a payment for you of $2,260 again. So twice you got, the county payment for you.
Right.
And you had not.
Yeah, I get it. Rent is paid on the first of every month, but some months have 31 days, some months have 30 days, and then there's one weird month that has 28 or even 29 days. How do you know when the first is if the months don't all have the same days? It doesn't make sense to me. You can't count the first is going to come on the first every month, because sometimes it's the 31st, sometimes it's the 28th. So yeah, the calendar's at fault for this. It's the calendar's fault, guys.
Paying your rent yourself. Then what happened is
it matter.
I'm just telling you what happened. I'm not.
A lot of people need help right now.
I'm just saying where the money came from, ma'am. I'm not being critical. And then the $2,757.19 minus 2,260 brings you down to the $497.19. So as of August 16th, after that G card payment, you still owed $497.19. There was a court filing to go to court on that of $130. That brought it to $627.19. Then the rent was owed for September 1st, which is another $720, which plus the $50 for the late fee, which brought you to $1,397.19. Then again, that same set of charges of $770 total were for October of 23, which brings you to a total of $2,167.19. Then we had a writ that was filed for
Thank you so much, Tupac, for the $20 super chat. Yeah. Okay, I got you. The second Tuesday of next week. All right. So I'll mark you down for the second Tuesday next week. Only if you're gonna pay it on the second Tuesday next week, I need you to pay on the third Wednesday of the week prior, just so we can even it up. And then our balance will be zero before the first of the following month, and we don't know when that is. I don't know when the first is, so hopefully we can figure it out, Tupac. But thank you for the super chat. Very generous. Thank you.
$85, and that brought it to $2,222.19.
And
Then
what
the process,
was the
pardon me,
what was the writ for?
for eviction purposes.
I don't know what that means.
What did you?
That,
What did you throw out?
that was a
Okay. Gave her a chance. Okay. What happened, ma'am, a writ is when after a judgment's entered, which was entered back on that last time, is that we approached the process and moved to have you evicted. However, you then at that point later on.
You are right. April 8th. April 8th. We're less than this is like 3 weeks away for a total solar eclipse. That's gonna mess up the calendar for sure. April 1st might actually be pushed back a week because I think the solar eclipse starts the month of April because it's after Easter, right? So that's the way it goes. A solar eclipse after Easter, but before the 1st of May always pushes everything back a week. So you get to live for a week free in your apartment without paying rent. I think that's legalese. Also, hashtag not a lawyer. If you guys follow that and decide to cite me, you're an idiot.
Here approached the within October, November, that approached the manager, and she backed off the writ if you would pay some money. And here you did start paying some money in November, which I'll show you in just a second. So that writ was that was the court cost, is what that is. Then we had the process server cost, which is $100. So that brings your balance due as of October 30th to $2,322.19. Then there was rent again owed for November 1st of $720, plus 3 days later, a $50 late fee. So that brought your rent now as of November 4th.
Kathy, happy birthday! Happy birthday, Kathy. St. Patty's Day, baby. Happy birthday. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you didn't take an evening nap like I did and forget to wake up. Hopefully you didn't do that. And you didn't make all these beautiful people wait for you for 10 minutes while I was late, because apparently I was in another universe. I was imagining that it was like the 1st of March, and it really wasn't. Anyways, thank you. Thank you. Why am I saying thank you? I don't know why I said thank you. Kathy, happy birthday.
2023 due of $3,092.19. You then made a payment on November 8th of $125, which brought you to $296.19. You then made a payment on November 8th of $225, and that brought you to $2,742.19. Then you made another payment on November 15th of $520, and that brought you to $2,222.19. Then on December 1st, rent was again owed of $720. That brought you up to $2,942.19. Then on December 2nd, there was the payment of you by $280, and that brought your balance down to $2,662.19. Then there was a late fee charged on December 4th of $50, bringing you to $2712.19. You then on December 14th paid $100, which brought your ledger down to $2,612.19. Then on January 1st, there was rent due again of $720, and that brought you up to a balance of $3,332.19. Then there was a $50 late charge, which brought it to $3,382.19. Then on December 10th, Catholic Charities paid $1,647.19, and that brought your balance down to $1,735. Then on January 13th, you paid $200, and that brought your balance down to $1,535. There was court cost filings for the new case, which was $200, which brought your, I'm sorry, at January 26th, brought it to $1,735. There was a rent income charge again because rent went up in February to $770, which brought your balance to $2,505. And then there was a late fee of $50, which brought you to $2,555. There was the new filing fee for the court of $2,755. And then there was rent income over the course as of March 1st. And of course, I guess really we haven't added it in there. It could be a $50 fee, but late fee. But with that 770 brings it to $3,525. So that's how we get to that balance, man.
Okay.
Why don't you ever get a notice that you're ready?
All right. Did anyone else follow that? I mean, he just that attorney just attorneyed for about 5 straight minutes. He was talking about numbers. He was saying things went up every month. How does that work? Why does it go up every month? This doesn't make sense to me. I paid $2,000 last April, but it keeps going up. Yeah, that's pretty much what I heard. The attorney's good, but it's funny if you go back and watch the first hearing where this defendant is just yelling, and you can hear her mom in the background because the mom's yelling too. Oh, it's not done. When they realized they lost, they're like, "Oh, well, we're going to start complaining about our water being cold." I don't know what they complain about. They start complaining about stuff like that, though. All right, here we go.
So why don't you guys don't pass out notices that the rent goes up?
Pardon me?
You guys pass out notices like how it went from 640 to.
Just 1 second, ma'am. What are you saying?
She want to know, did we pass that notices that the rent go up?
Oh.
Or weren't renewing her?
No, it was not being renewed, ma'am. So, I mean, there was no rent going notice to you. That's just the rent that charges as of February.
Right, but I have to know what I'm paying.
I mean, I'm not sure what you're talking about. It looks like the rent's $720. If you're talking about way back in.
No, I think she's referring to in February when the rent increased, Your Honor. That was the rental increase among the premises to $770. It had gone up by $50 starting in February.
Every time it increased. When I first there was 640, which it should have stayed there because nothing hasn't got fixed since I've been there anyway. Still went the whole with no heat. Still went the whole summer with no air. Like they never fixed nothing. I don't know why they keep putting the rent up.
Okay, wait. I got a question for.
Whoa. She went all summer with no air? She needs to sign one of those 24/7 oxygen agreements. I mean, sometimes you just need 24/7 oxygen. And she went a whole summer without oxygen or air. That sounds rough. I'm glad she's okay right now. A whole summer without air. Yeah, she needs to go see Judge Simpson and get some of that 24/7 oxygen.
For you though, if you didn't like the rent increase, why would you stay there?
Because I didn't know that it was increased.
Well, Your Honor, the rent, the lease terminated in January. She has no active lease right now, and she's welcome to leave, of course.
Yeah.
I guess that's my concern is if the rent's going up and you're staying there, you've got to, if the late's, and Mr. Zisman is saying the same thing, if you didn't like the fee going or the rent going up, then you had every right to leave at that point.
I never knew about the rent going up until I just looked over this paperwork, until I looked over my rent ledger.
You mentioned 640 though, and that was back in May of 2020.
Right, and that's what I remember. I never knew that it went up to 770 until the last.
But from 2020 on, that's like 3 years, 4 years. How would you know that?
When was the last thing she signed?
Not know that it was going up, even if there wasn't a notice. If they were billing you 720, why didn't you question it then?
Yeah, but the one that just ended.
Well, I knew
Your Honor, if it helps at all, the court, she signed the lease that just ended, which did tell her the rent would be this. But I mean, that I understand that she's not happy with it going up, and I don't blame her for that. but she did sign a lease a year ago, that a little less than a year ago, or a little more than a year ago, I'm sorry, which indicated the amount of rent she's paying. She's
Oh,
had
so
notices
there's-
she's re-signed lease several times. So I mean, she knows the rent's gone up. I mean, it's not
so
just like,
okay,
Yeah.
so either way,
It went up to 770 until the last court date that we had.
you know, I have no problem deducting if
Yeah, I get that, peeps, but Windows were an invention for humankind to be able to see through walls. So, you know, that was the early, I don't know when Windows were invented, a couple thousand years ago, to allow people to see through walls, not to allow them to breathe through walls. So I don't know your argument there, peeps. You can open a window and yeah, some of that sweet air comes through, but you got to pay for your air, right? You got to pay for that air. That 24/7 sweet oxygen you got to pay for.
if we're going to put a judgment in place, I'll take $100 off for the 2 months that she says she doesn't know it. But there's no reason I can't charge that. She was, but I don't care. That's fine.
Okay, well, can I about the $15 that was getting tagged on to the 640 payments back in
No, that's something from way before this last lease was signed. So I mean, that has no bearing today, Your Honor.
Right, but I still want to know, that was still my money. So I want to know what was
That was decided long ago, Your Honor, before. This is not a subject to today's hearing at all. And it doesn't affect even the lease expired.
I know what y'all was charging me $15 for. I should have a right to know that.
Several occasions.
What was it
And
for?
what, I'm sorry, Mr. Zissis, help me out. I'm not sure how are you on what's 15?
First of all, we don't even know what year she's talking about. I don't know what the $15 is she's referring to, Your Honor.
What?
And
You can go
my
right to-
manager's right here with me, and she doesn't know. And
January 27th, 2021. If you want to look at that.
Ma'am, I'm not gonna go back to, I'm not gonna. go back that far.
1021.
January 7th, 2021. Then I have
January.
another.
I'm not
March
gonna go
1st.
back, ma'am, I'm just gonna tell you right now, I'm not gonna go back to 2021. We're so far past that. You've been making payments, or somebody's been making payments since
Yeah.
then. I'm not gonna go back that far.
It's $15.
I'm just not gonna do it. That's something that you ended up consenting to by making payments, or somebody made payments for you, whatever that is, that's way outside of the scope of what's.
Yeah, but I never knew until I seen a ledger. But what can we do to move forward? Like,
Well,
what's the
forward, Mr. Zinsmaster, the amount that you stated that's owed is it 2,755? Is that what
It's total amount of rent to retain possession is $3,325 pursuant exactly to what the ledger says, plus $200 for costs, which would bring it to $3,525 would be the total amount for rent, according to our ledger and all. I said that I would subject $100 off that and make it $3,425. So rent to do possession would be $3,225, and that would make the total $3,425.
This is such a nice attorney. After spending, 20 minutes explaining the ledger to everybody, it's like, you know what? I'll even take off $100 of that if you pay the $3,400. Such a nice guy. And who says attorneys aren't nice?
Okay.
okay? So you guys want all this money, but I had to go like 3 years without heat. I can't afford to keep moving.
Your Honor, it's ludicrous what she's saying. There's no way that the place was out heat for 4 years and air and all that. We keep track of things. This wouldn't be the case. Plus, if you look at your ledger that was provided to you, it goes back to 2019. There's not a single charge there about $15, whatever she's referring to. So I would ask the court to please proceed with it.
I'm talking about the judge already said that he doesn't want to go back that far, so we passed that already. I'm just
Okay.
Yeah, we're
forget
not
about
gonna get there. I'll tell you what, ma'am, given that everything you've told me and everything Mr. Zinsmaster told me, I've looked at the ledger as we were going through it. There's consensual payments that have been made, regardless of how we do it. You consented to payments being made. Do find that there's owed $3,425.
right. And Judge, I just want to ask a question. Would you pay that? And you've been constantly asking for years, and Lynette knows. and whoever else, the other lady, I can't remember her name, she works there. Only thing they tell me, oh, I'll put you on the list for them to come out and check it. The dishwasher been broke so long, is my whole house smells so bad.
Oh, I'm glad I stopped myself. I had a really bad joke about my broken dishwasher. Yeah, I got a broken dishwasher too. Yep, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
And Lynette knows this. I keep my apartment, I probably got one of the best apartments out there. I keep up with my apartment. I was having a little problems at first with noise and stuff like that. And then I told her I'm better with that. She hasn't had a problem out of me since. And it's hard. It's just hard for me right now. My income tax check got took. I don't have a card, nothing.
Okay.
And I was planning to pay this money with, I guess they said that I couldn't, they said that I guess they took it because I wasn't eligible for a stimulus check. And I don't know how.
Okay. So
I already been.
And this
I don't
my
have
daughter,
any.
she's stressing out, and it's got me stressing. For one, because Lynette, you were so nice to my daughter, and since this happened, you have been nasty and unprofessional. I have heard several people say that about you. You
all
did
right,
like that.
ma'am, ma'am, I don't need the extra.
All right, mom in for the rescue. All right, there's only about a minute or two left of this. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much. Did I miss something? Nope. I got all the super chats. All right. Yeah, you guys have been awesome. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had a safe weekend. Sorry I was late. Yeah. And I blame Heather. Her perfect voice put me to sleep. And I just refused to get. Thank you so much for hanging out. I will let this play out. Like I said, there's about a minute and a half to 2 minutes left of this. Let's jump in Discord after this. Let's have some fun. My lovely mods will drop the Discord link into the chat and let's go. I will see you guys tomorrow. Let's see. Tomorrow's Members Monday. So tomorrow night will be a members only live, but I will either do a premiere or something during the day for non-members. So we'll get to hang out. But yeah, tomorrow night it's gonna be a big members only. I'm just gonna tell you, don't miss it. Do not miss it. Tomorrow night's gonna be big, and I'm not gonna tell you why. It's a secret. All right. Until I guess see you on Discord after this. Until then, bye.
I said what I said.
Okay. All right. So let's just leave it at that. Judgment for 3,425. Lowry, I hate to, Mr. Is this allow a writ after 10 days? Is that what we're doing?
After March 15th, Your Honor.
Yes.
Could you give me at least 30 days?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ma'am,
And I
that's
will,
up between you and management, but for today's, I'm just gonna give the statutory time period 10 days.
Thank you, Legal Fiction. I was on the phone with Heather. She was yelling at me. She not only was yelling at me, she hung up and then called me so my phone would wake me up. So it wasn't an alarm issue. I thought I was only going to sleep for like 5 minutes, and yeah, I slept for like 25. So yeah, thank you for the alarm clock fund. I'm also deaf. I'm half deaf. So alarm clocks don't always work. If I roll over on my good ear, yeah, I'm not going to hear anything. So yeah. But anyways, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it, buddy.
And what does that mean?
That you have to have that paid by March 15th.
And then what happens?
If not paid by that date, they can, I'll sign a writ of eviction in order to evict at that. Okay.
So I have to give them $3,400, and I went 3 summers without heat or air.
Ma'am, I've heard everything I could possibly hear, and some of what you're asking for is so far removed from this. I do find the ledgers in order, and I've given credit for some things. So 3,425 allow a writ after March 15th. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you.